That looks like it's worked. Yep, that has definitely worked. Success! We are live, and I've just realised my microphone isn't pointing at my face. There we go, how's that? Hello everybody. It is that time of the week again. We are on a Wednesday, it is 10 o'clock. Well, it's 5 to 10, so I'm going to start a little bit early, do a little bit of warm-up. I'm going to talk about the guitar today, actually. Let me, obviously, face first. Hidden the surprise. Not at all. So I'm going to be looking at playing over changes again today. We will be doing the second part of our playing over changes. And this is something that we'll just keep visiting time and time again on these Let's Learn Lives. Because, of course, the difference between a Let's Learn Live, which I do here on YouTube for free, versus a weekly guided practice routine, which I do on Patreon, is the practice routines are, I've composed all the exercises. We're going to practice the exercises together, and we're going to, there's no room for improvisation. It's about maximizing our practice time. Whereas when we're looking at a Let's Learn Live, that allows me to, I still compose all of the exercises, and you'll still be able to download the PDF and the Guitar Pro and the backing track, but it allows us a little bit more room for questions, of course, and improvisation. So I'm going to improvise over the changes a lot more, and just, test ideas. So I guess it's like application of practice. We're going to both practice some things, but then also apply those things to a backing track. And when I'm doing the weekly guided practice routines, that's not so much the case. There's not as much improvisation in that because it's about learning the concepts and really understanding and getting the concepts under our fingers. This is going to be a little bit more about exploration. Hello, Ben. Thank you for your comment. And hello, Jack. Hello, everybody. People that are tuning in. With my setup, I can't actually see how many people are online. I can just see the chat on my screen over here. So I assume that there's more than 2 of you there. So if there are, please do drop a comment, say hello. Anyway, so let's jump on over and talk about the guitar. So today, I'm playing my trusty Benedetto Pat Martino signature. This is my pride and joy. We talked about it on the last stream. It's not usually out in the studio. It's usually in my house. But I thought I'd bring it out to the studio and use it on this stream so you could see it in its full glory in action. This is, like I say, it's a Benedetto guitar made by Benedetto, and it's Pat Martino's signature model. What's to tell? It gives the impression of being a solid body guitar, but it's actually chambered. It's a hollow guitar because it's a jazz guitar, obviously, Pat Martino, and all of that. It's strung up in standard tuning, and the high E string is a 15. I have a 15 on the high E string, so it's a 15 going down. I can't tell you the full gauge. It doesn't go all the way down to like a 65 or anything like that. It's maybe a 56 on the bottom, but a 15 all the way down to a 56. And the idea is that the string gauges aren't as dramatic when you go from one string to the next. And I've fallen in love with this as a sound because now there's less of a tonal difference when you jump from the B string to the E string and the G string to the B string and so on. So it feels, I don't mind crossing strings for melodies. And also because I'm playing a 15 on the high E, which is, so thick, I don't mind playing melodies. That high E string doesn't sound thin. It's got that thick sound, and I find that when I'm playing my standard, like a Telecaster, where I have a 10 on the top, I don't like sitting on the high E string for melodies because I think it sounds very brittle and plinky. But when you've got a 15 on the top, it doesn't sound brittle at all. So, Doug Guitar, thanks for the 3-month deal on your Patreon. Very generous. And now I've gotten into the candy store. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to give it up. Well, of course, Doug, I would be lying if I said anything other than that wasn't the hope. It would be lovely if some of you guys stuck around. Let's talk just briefly about what Doug's talking about there. So, of course, I have a Patreon page, and you can get access to hundreds of transcriptions and ear training videos and weekly guided practice routines. And you can go for the expensive tier, which is $50, and have a private lesson, and so much more. And normally I would say check out the link in the description, and you can join us over there and pay me some money. But I'm currently running a special deal. No obligation. You don't have to put your credit card information in. Nothing. there's a link in the description where you can join my weekly guided practice routine tier for a month for free. Totally free. I'm not asking for any. Well, I'm asking for your email address so I can email you the landing page for it. But yeah, totally free. And I limited that to 500 people. And last time I checked, 454, I think, of them had been claimed. So there's just under 50 of them left to claim. So go to that link in the description and get yourself a completely free month's access to my weekly guided practice routine tier. Someone on YouTube earlier said, I assume it's just the tab, not video. And why? And why would you assume that? And I get it. It's because, well, who would give away 75 hours of instructional videos? Me. I would. I'm generous like that. No, I just... well, it is a generosity thing, but I mean, the way I see it, I've been doing the weekly guided practice routines for 3 years. If you haven't signed up for them by now, I reckon the chances of me convincing you to are low. So I don't really necessarily see giving you guys a free month of it as me losing a customer, because you weren't customers in the first place, you know? So, and I really do, I just love what I do for a living. I love playing music. I love talking about music with people. And if this can get a bunch of new people into our community, fantastic. If, 1% of you stick around, fantastic. If none of you stick around, oh well. Yeah, we haven't lost anything, and hopefully 500 people have had a good time. So go and check out my the free access. Rust in Peace asks, how much is my Patreon? My Patreon, there are different tiers. There's a $1 tier, doesn't really get you anything. The $5 tier gets you access to all of the transcriptions that I post there. There's a $10 tier which gets you access to the ear training stuff. And the $20 tier gets you access to the weekly guided practice routines. And then there's a $50 tier, which gets you access to a private lesson once a month with me. You book in and we hang out for an hour and talk about music. There's cheap $50 for a private lesson with me, plus all the other stuff, So those are your options there. Let's keep reading. Actually, been doing quite a bit of work on the modern method. I'm not crazy on that modern method book. I'm not crazy on it. No. William Leavitt's, his approach, he's very dogmatic about fingerings and things like that. And it's great if you intend to absorb that and then stick to that as your only way of doing things. But it's called the modern method, and but modern's always a very tricky word when it comes to education, right? Because modern changes. The thing that is modern changes. When we think about modern guitar now, we don't think about what William Leavitt was talking about when writing that. Is it the William Leavitt? I can see the cover of the book. I'm sure William Leavitt wrote it. But yeah, it's not a modern approach by any stretch of the imagination anymore. It's quite a dated, use of academic guitar. Having said that, I own it, obviously, and I have read it. So I am a believer in reading as much and learning as much as you can. So, nice. I'm signing up. Money is a bit tight at the moment. Yeah, I had some people sign up to it, and they sent me private messages and were really apologetic. They were like, "I've always wanted to check out your Patreon, but they explained their personal situation, their circumstances, and they're like, I know I won't have the money to do that, and I know I won't have the money to stick around after this free month." So I'm sorry for that. And it's like, no need to apologize. Like, have a good time. Be active in the Discord server. Let's have fun. Because all this guitar stuff and the entertaining and educating people for a living is great, but it's only fun when there's actually people there, So I actually said many years ago that I would teach. I would have done Skype lessons for free if I knew people wouldn't take advantage of the fact that I was doing things for free. Because I just love sharing music with people and talking about music and being passionate about things. Unfortunately, you have to put a price tag on things or people take advantage of you. Let's have a look. So I think it's Arthur says, which Ibanez guitar do you recommend for it? I couldn't tell you, man. It's not that I don't like the Ibanez stuff. It's that I don't remember the last time I played a guitar that was $900. It's not a market that I'm ever shopping in. This Benedetto is $7,500. So, and I'm looking at jazz guitars. not the Ibanez stuff. Ibanez make a lot of stuff that I like. I like the AZ series and the AZS. I like, like the Josh Smith AZS is cool. All the AZs I've played have been great, but I couldn't tell you the price points on any of those. So wish I could help, but I can't. Okay, let me just. So I'm just going to warm up a little bit over this backing track. It's not a backing track. Oh no, sorry. I will just point out. So yeah, you can get guitar profiles on my Patreon page. Please go and check out my new book, Guided Guitar Arpeggio Practice Routines, available on Amazon now. And a reminder, link in the description. You can download the transcription for this lesson that we're doing today, along with the Guitar Pro, the PDF, and there's a backing track for this that we're going to be using to practice over. The thing I'm about to use now, it's not the backing track in question. This is just a little loop that I set up before. So to give you guys an idea of the loop that I've set up here, all I played was this. These are the guide tones of an A7 chord. So we've got a G and a C sharp. I looped that, and then I put a bass part underneath. Words to that effect. I can't remember what I played, but you'll have a listen, you'll hear it. It was that. So this is the vibe, okay? And I'm just thinking A7, and I'll... that Martino. Okay, I'd say that's me. Suitably warm. I guess the other thing to point out is my voice is back. When I did this stream last week, I only had half a voice. Half is probably me being generous. of course, I passed that on to Melissa now, so she's off doing 2 gigs right now, having to sing, and she only has a fraction of her voice. But, you can't turn down a living, can you? Anyway, so, all right, what is it that we're looking at today? Well, I have a backing track, and I'm going to press play on the backing track, let you listen to it. Now, if you remember the title of this video or the thumbnail, I specifically didn't say blues. I said blues roots because I thought it would be a bit predictable, if you like, to sit with the usual. Now, I love that chord progression, don't get me wrong. But I thought I would give it something a little bit more, not necessarily more challenging, but something different, okay? So the backing track sounds like this. About 8 minutes, I think. So make sure you go and download it for yourself. What is that backing track? So I call it blues roots because it's bluesy, obviously, but this is not a 12-bar blues chord progression. So we are in the key of A. Well, it's technically in the key of D, but I think A is my one, even though I'm playing it as a dominant chord. So we're in the key of A, and the first chord is an A7. The second chord, we move up a tone to B7. Then we move to the 4 chord, D7. And then back to the 1, A7. Okay, so it doesn't matter how or where you play those chords. If I put that on, I could do this. I'm going to do something like this. Thinking chordally, right? So I'm just playing various A7 sounds, various B7 sounds, various D7 sounds. And it's very important that when you're getting to grips with playing over changes that you're very familiar with the backing track, right? So when I'm playing this, I can talk to you while it's happening, but I'm still thinking the 1 chord, A, happens for 2 bars, then we go to the B, to a D, back to the A. Now I'm not thinking chord names, I'm thinking intervals, so I think 1, 2, 4, 1. So that's an improvisation. outlining the changes, right? I'm not stressing too much about it. I'm just thinking A7, B7, D7, back to A7. So let's take a look at our first exercise. Wow, isn't that boring? Any questions about this thus far? Please do let me know. So the first thing I would encourage you to do is very positional based playing. So I'm obviously free to improvise all over the neck, but we should start out being comfortable just looking at one area, or one position, should we say. So I could play those same chords, A7 using my E shape, B7 using my E shape, E7 using my E shape. Now I know that seems like a silly thing to point out, like a very obvious thing to focus on, but it is very, very important, right? I think back to a student that I saw earlier this week, and recently when I had a lesson with him, we were looking at his arpeggio knowledge, and he's put all of his arpeggio fingerings together himself. So he had like 8 or 9 different arpeggio fingerings for any arpeggio. And that meant that any time it came to choosing where to improvise, he had 8 or 9 different options. So going from an A7 to a B7 became like a paralyzing decision because, which one should I go to? And there's that fear of what if I go to the wrong one, right? But if we only have one thing to draw from, then we've removed that choice. We've removed that frustration. Now, in the long run, we'll add more things back in, but we should start out with just one other thing. So I want you to be able to take this backing track and play A7, B7, D7, A7. Very simple, right? Adding that hammer from the minor third to the major third, and then I'm doing I'm barring, it's really the 4/1. Nice little rhythmic pattern. That makes sense? Anybody that's watching, say anything in the comments section, just because I want to make sure that the comments haven't frozen and I'm not missing a bunch of stuff, because that would be really annoying if I was missing your feedback. So once you have that, once you're really comfortable with just the boring shape, there we go. Chat a little bit about how you develop A7 vocabulary, like how do you find to play things over the one chord. Awesome. So we're kind of talking about it now, right? I think the first thing to do, you don't necessarily mention whether you're talking chords or rhythm, or lead parts, but to me they're the same thing, right? I think the answer is starting out with one area. So I've just taken this chord. Yeah. Self-taught guitarists always want to run before they can walk, and that's what my guided practice routine books are all about. And the foundation level one did well, but the publisher wanted to call it beginner, and I was like, I don't want to call it beginner. And the reason I don't want to call it beginner is for 2 reasons. One, it's not a truly beginner book, and two, too many self-taught guitarists are put off by the word beginner because they take the opinion of, I've been playing the guitar for 5 years, I'm not a beginner. And I knew that the content in that book was really important because I knew that it was going to be stuff that they had often skipped over. So yeah, all of those things, very, very important. So when playing that one shape, like I've got vocabulary around that, and we're going to look at a couple of bits of vocabulary in a second, but you hear me play a lot of it. So you hear me do that as a motif. I play that all the time. Or Now, where does this vocabulary come from? From listening to people, from copying things that I hear. You know, when you I listen to a lot of soul music, obviously, because I play in a soul band. But you hear guys like Steve Cropper play stuff like that. You hear Curtis Mayfield doing, all those sorts of things, and you end up copying the sounds that you hear. So it's very important that we put that time in. You can do a triple stop version of that. And once I have things like that, I just want to have my loop. So everything I'm playing there is supposed to sound really fluent. It's supposed to sound really natural, right? Everything I play sounds like I'm just doing the easiest stuff in the world, because I am. All that stuff is easy. So once you have that down, all that easy stuff, you start learning melodic vocabulary. So if I jump over here, I've written out a piece of melodic vocabulary for you, right? Now, I'm reading this, so let me have a look. So we go... There's our basic idea. That's the first part. Question. Answer. Now, I would take a motif like that and I would play it over both loops. Now, a piece of vocabulary like that to me is the same as... I practice things like that until they are so automatic and they sound so musical when I do them. I can do it at any tempo and it's going to make you want to dance when I do this. What we're looking to do here is, once we have that motif and we tie it to this chord form, well, then I can just play the same motif for each of my chords, but starting on each one of those areas. So we'd have this. And this is the first step in playing over changes. Different idea, but the same in the sense that I'm just seeing a position, right? So here we have so that's just vocabulary that fits around that E-shaped form. I can put this on. So I start mixing the rhythm. there's my motif, and now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just stitching together some. What's that? Okay, got tax. I'm just stitching together melodic vocabulary in a position-based way. Now, let me read some comments here. So, when you're composing these lines, whether beforehand or live, seeing triad shapes, scale shapes, it's kind of triad shape. It depends on the vocabulary. These sorts of things. That's obviously like major, minor, pentatonic. If I'm looking for more triad-based vocabulary, might do something like that. That's me thinking more triad, and I could take that motif, right? Just improvising them. What the genesis of the idea is. If it's a triad genesis idea, it's going to be that. But it doesn't just have to be composed, right? It can be stolen. You can just take licks from people that you hear. If you're listening to, let's say, Clapton, and he goes... It doesn't matter how you think of the line. You could look at that and go, oh, that's very obviously triad. Or you could say, oh, major pentatonic. It doesn't matter where the idea comes from. You just have to lock it around a position so you can do this. Vocabulary here that's very, blues based, but of course, where do my interests lie? Well, my interests are more lines like that, right? Or as like a bebop line. Now that line, starting on the third of the chord, it's like a 3 to 9 octave displacement. I've learned that line. Now, helpful to have some suggestions for albums that you stole lots of blues or blues. Okay, sorry for lots of questions tonight. I'm glad it's a topic that you're into, right? Here's the secret. Here's the knowledge, okay? It could be literally any album that has ever been recorded that has blues solos on it, right? And my point is that none of them are better than any others, right? So earlier in the week, I had a student and we were doing a similar approach. We were looking at some of Freddie King's vocabulary on Stumble, and then going down, and you just see the same licks. He plays the same type of stuff, right? The problem is, it's not a problem, but the problem that you're going to have for yourself is when you say it would be super helpful to have some suggestions for albums, you are outsourcing your enjoyment, if that makes sense. You're trying to ask me, what are the things that you should like? And the answer is, I don't know. The things that you should work from are the things that you like. So you just put on the recordings of things that you love, the things that you're passionate about. You will find guys that do this and have stolen, a bunch of Jimmy Page vocabulary. And I don't like Jimmy Page. It's not my favourite player. You will find guys that have done this with Jimi Hendrix. I don't like Jimi Hendrix at all. I think Jimmy was an immensely overrated player. Only because I'm so into soul, So I hear all of the soul stuff that he took, and then I hear rock guys going, "Oh, look at all this crazy stuff that he invented," and it's like, no, lots of soul guys were doing that, and they're like, "Yeah, but listen to all those effects," and it's like, well, yeah, effects, but he didn't invent any of those effects. He just happened to be around when they were but they came to market. Anyway, I'm going off on a bit of a rant there, but the point is, if you came to me and said, "Oh, Band of Gypsies, I've been listening to a lot of Band of Gypsies," or I was going to say some of the Cream stuff, whatever it happens to be, it really doesn't matter. You just find the stuff that you like, because I'm showing you vocabulary here that fits within the style of things that we're talking about. But I could put this on and play this lick. Here's a lick I love. I won't talk when I'm playing them. That as a lick is something that I stole from Jimmy Herring. He played that. I don't even remember what he played that on now. Words to that effect, right? And it's just part of my vocabulary now. I've just stolen it. It's just in there. And the more you sit down with recordings that you enjoy, I'm going to recommend totally different things than anyone else is going to recommend, because I have the things that I love. So I'm going to say put on Josh Smith's album Still Life, because playing on there is great, and you'll just find things that are cool and exciting to you. Or I'm going to say Charlie Hunter did an album a couple of years back with Sam Freibush on organ, the Sam Freibush trio. And if you go and listen to those records, Charlie plays some really cool things. But these are all things that are really, really cool to me, and they might not be as cool to you. So it's really not important. What's important is you just get excited about the thing, and you just learn the vocabulary. And let me be clear about this. In the same way that you could watch this live stream back and you could learn every word that I said, I would tell you it would be a waste of time for you to learn every word that I've said and then copy everything I said like you were reading a script. It's not about that. It's about listening to the thing and internalizing the vocabulary, not the solo. So I've never learned any Jimmy Herring solos. I've never learned any Charlie Hunter solos. But I've learned licks that these guys have played. I've learned phrases that they've played. Things that I like the sound of. When I heard Scott Henderson play, that's not even a Scott Henderson lick. But I remember Scott playing it and me going, "Oh, that's really cool. I like that." Did I learn the whole solo? No, absolutely not. Because that's not the point. Let's keep going. I feel like transcribing whatever you like with some really active listening, if it's the right term. Yeah, really helps. If you think that's great, transcribe it, steal it. Yeah, absolutely. That's really, really good advice there. So once you've transcribed enough, what you start to learn is that the active listening side of things becomes the transcribing. How many like Jimmy Herring stuff I transcribed, like literally written down. Quite a few. But Josh Smith is a later influence in my life, in my music playing, right? How many Josh Smith licks have I transcribed, like actually written down? I was going to say 0, that would be untrue because I've done some transcriptions for YouTube, right? But very, very few compared to other artists. But he's still a big influence, a huge influence on my sound when I play and improvise because I've absorbed it through the active listening because my listening has got better. When I hear people play things now, I don't hear just the music. I can think to myself, oh yeah, I know how I play that. And you build up a connection between you and the instrument. That makes sense? So yeah, you just want to take any little motif. Right, so let me hear the backing track again. So maybe we go stay in position. 1, 2. No. It's not the most inspired, but it'll work. Sound like it has a lot of focus because I'm really going to be outlining the chord changes because I'm using boring positional based knowledge, but it gets me there. So if I improvise more, you're never going to hear that on a Hendrix record. It's not my vocabulary, but that's my influence. Those are my things, my sounds coming in. So yeah, learn, transcribe. Okay, so let's move on. Let's do something different. So once you've got that down, then we can start looking into arpeggio knowledge. So this is where we start really making sure we know the guitar. So everything we did before, you could think of as a music lesson, okay? Because it's about one position and expressing ideas. But now we're moving into the territory of lots of different positions, not even worrying about expressing ideas, just making sure that we know the positions so that in the long run, we're going to be able to do the thing we did in the last section, i.e. expressing musical ideas in different areas of the neck, but we'll be able to do it in different areas of the neck. So this is less of a music lesson. This bit is a guitar lesson. So how well do we know our arpeggios? I know when I'm here, A7. Now my B7. Whoops. Now, of course, if you don't know your arpeggios all that well, might I suggest the Guided Guitar Arpeggio Practice Routines book. That was a nice little segue, wasn't it? If you want to delve real deep into the arpeggio stuff, the Guided Guitar Arpeggio Practice Routines is there. Go and take a look at it. But it's not a hard sales pitch. It just popped into my mind. Yeah, so I'm using, if you talk cage, like you would say E shape, G shape, and then for my D, A shape, and then... Now you just have to know that stuff really cold. Like obviously I'm not looking at the guitar. That's me playing from the bottom. We should play from the top as well. Let's go. Because then that's not music. Sorry, I said I wouldn't talk over the backing track. So that's not really music, but it's practice of the guitar. It's knowledge of the fretboard, right? I'm limiting myself just arpeggio tones, and I'm trying to not just start on the low part. I'm trying to mix it up. The backing track is too loud. Let me see if I can adjust that. Sorry, guys. I'm trying. Brought it down by like 10%. Staying in one position of the neck there. Real knowledge of this stuff, shock horror, just give you a different position, is being able to start anywhere. So I want to try and keep my hand in one place. Before we played E shape, G shape, to A shape, back to E shape. But we should be free to do that anywhere. So if my hand is here, A, B, D, A. And we just have to know it. We got to, you put in the time. It's what I forget who even said it now. Oh no, where's the chat gone? I can't see the chat. There we go. Yeah, it's running before you can walk. Like to me, all this stuff is the most boring. It really is, but you have to know it. And once you know it, you don't think about it anymore. It's like I often use driving a car as an example. I know how to drive a car because I've learned all the fundamentals of how to drive my car. So I don't have to think about things like changing gears or using my indicators, things like that. It has to be automatic. You're not safe in your car unless all of the motions that are required to control it are subconscious. You don't think about it. It's the same with this. So any position, if I'm here, but I think of it as being a very good demonstration of a true understanding of the fretboard. Now, if I do the same thing, but I just stay on the top 4 strings. Guitar Breakdown is in the house. Everybody go and check out Guitar Breakdown. Great YouTube channel. I did some transcribing for those guys many moons ago. They have loads of really cool stuff on their page. You can learn all this stuff over there. No, seriously, they've done some videos of some really great players. So go and check those guys out. Yeah, so that's that area, right? Now, what I haven't done is notated every single arpeggio position for you, because, well, that would make for a very boring YouTube video, right? That's not the focus here, but you want to put the time in, right? So A7, well, I can do that here. B, D, here, A, B, let's try that again, A, B, D, and then A, B, D, A. Then we're back where we started. To D. So if I put that backing track on, I could stay in each area of the neck. And you have to put the time into this. You've got to get this stuff. It's really boring. You put in the time, you know, as of anything else. So the foundation actually takes time, but it is worthwhile time. It's not complex, but yeah, it's very to the point, and the better you get at that, because to me the notes of the arpeggio they're always the best notes. Those are the ones that sound like the chord. And when I'm playing, if I go, now that's a good example there, right? So here I've transcended thinking about positions, totally transcended it. I played this. Now my ear told me to move chromatically because I'm here. This note is in the chord. Now this, I can just hear that this note is in that chord. And once, you know, where I use that as a transition, my ear, again, it was position knowledge to a degree, but being able to hear A7, I could hear the chord change. Ba-da. It's the fifth of B. My ear pulled me in that direction. So the better an understanding you have of arpeggio, the better your lines will just start to connect together. Okay, so is this example next? Nope. This example next. So once you've done that, you can then start thinking scale, right? You can then put a little bit of time into scale. So exactly the same idea. I have my arpeggio. I have my scale. I have my arpeggio. I have my scale. And that helps my chord, arpeggio, scale. So it's not, it's not how I'm going to draw my lines. I'm not going to play scales for my lines, but knowing where my connectors are for my arpeggio, very important to me. And each one of these, of course, is a Mixolydian mode. That's a major scale with a flat 7. I'm just hearing the sound of it. Ba da 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 ba 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 ya da 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 do. So I go like this. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I make sure I know them, get to grips with them, and it just, these things start to connect. You start to see A7. That was up my arpeggio, down scale, resolving to a chord tone. That's a good line. That would work, but why not play that? Then when the chord changes to B, let's go here, and then go. Let's go. Bit of a cliche, but I'll do that. So I had A. I'm outlining those chord changes, yeah? Because I know, here's my B7 arpeggio. Here's my scale. I could play the same lick, I guess I could. What did we do before? We played... Yeah. It's not often I do that, because I find that I tend to play pieces of vocabulary in positions because they fit naturally under the hand, but a motif like that, you could do it in different places. So A line, B, then we go to my D, could do that, and then back to we have to know the scale. So you've got to put in your time, no matter the dominant chord, no matter where you are on the neck. I like to do this with students. Obviously, it's not going to work so well in this situation. But if I'm just moving my hand up and down, I should be able to say stop. You should be able to pick any, let's say, F. My hand is here, I should be able to play F. There's an F. My hand is here, A flat. But also, I played arpeggio. I could play A flat. You've got to just be able to see your arpeggio and see your scale and see how those two things connect to each other. Just a reminder, guys, if you're watching this and you are enjoying, I'm not even trying to sell you anything, right? There's a link in the description. When I started this stream, there were still 47 more free spaces. So you can currently get a month's free access to my weekly guided practice routines on Patreon. No credit card information required. You literally put your email in, you'll get emailed a link, you can sign up for free, and then once the month is over, you'll automatically be downgraded to a free account. So there's no risk of you accidentally giving me money, which I know is a ridiculous thing to say, right? Like, oh, wouldn't that be the worst thing in the world? Oh, God, wouldn't you hate it if you gave Levi a little bit of money for the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours he puts into YouTube? How silly. No, but I jest. Like, I set it up that way knowing that that was going to be what was going to happen with most people. But I just wanted to have more people involved. So go and check out that. Oh, go and check out that link in the description and make sure you grab one of those spots before they go, because once they're gone, they're gone. I gave away 500 free memberships and it was down to like 47 left. So take advantage while you still can. Okay, so if I jump back here, different scale positions. Same idea, right? We should be able to arpeggio, but then scale. My arpeggio for B, sorry, was this, my scale. My D arpeggio, scale. And then that means that if I'm having to improvise, I can play A. Let's go. B. D. To my A. So I'm just free to move around and like, yeah, I've got lots of like little chromatic encirclement ideas that I do because I've learned so many bebop lines over the years that some of those things that's the way I treat scales, right? When I see this, I know I can go, but it's cooler to go. It's just a line, right? Lucy Day, thanks Levi, I just grabbed a Patreon spot. Awesome, Lucy. Looking forward to seeing you on the Discord server. When you're on my Patreon, I mean anybody can access my Discord server, but when you're on the Patreon, you can link up the Discord server to your Patreon account, and then you get access to the private areas on there. Didn't have to put any details in beyond email. Yep, nothing. I'm not taking advantage, I promise. Sure, it's not like giving money to the many grifters that are on the internet nowadays. So fair play. yeah, fucking tell me about it. There's so many of them. It's just they're woof. There's so many of them, and you know they've always got a sale on. You know, it's always a good deal. Grab a great deal. It's currently on sale. Buy it now because it's on sale. Quick, buy! It's on sale. You won't have this opportunity again. It won't be on sale again. It's just the worst. See my book that's not on sale. You can buy it. It's not on sale. It won't be on sale. Well, it might be on sale at some point. If it is, I won't know when it is. That's not how that works. See that book? It sells for the retail price. You know why? It's a really good book. The shit that I could talk, right? Anyway, so yeah, we should be able to do that absolutely anywhere on the fretboard. And so I'm going to move towards like improvisation and lines over this in a second, but I just wanted to really emphasize this idea that no matter where we are on the fretboard, we should be able to see our scales. And we're just doing Mixolydian. That's the beauty of this, right? Just Mixolydian. The thing I love about this is once you can do this, I really don't want to get rid of this loop because I like it, but I will. Right, so if I do this. Let's not do that. Let's put the full bass notes in there. Arpeggio. Scale. I'm setting the changes quite quickly there. But the beauty of this as an approach is if I play a slow blues, I'll put some jazz changes in as well. Scale. Oh, let's have a look. Remember this ear training course, Use Your Ear, $500 on sale. Yeah, it's outrageous. How do you think about scales? If it's just an A minor vamp, what are you thinking? It's a really, really good question. Apparently I'm a fantastically excellent human too. I'm not sure what that means, Jeff. I don't know if that means you took one of the free memberships or if you are currently supporting me on Patreon. If I'm playing on like an A minor vamp, something like that, right? I think arpeggio. Now, of course, there I started playing some things that weren't arpeggio, right? But I can't stress this enough. When I'm on a vamp, or when I'm on any chord, the chord has 4 chord tones, usually 4 chord tones. Every other note is just a way to get me from this chord tone to this chord tone. So a scale, you might call this the first 3 notes of a scale. I don't think like that. I think same idea here. We're going from the 3rd to the 5th. I'd go. So now you go. But I'm just thinking. Fifth up to 7. Well, I could go. If it's dark, if it's brighter. When I'm improvising around like that, it's too fast. You'll hear so much arpeggio in my lines. Here's an interesting question. Lucy Day asks, scales are a lot easier to learn than arpeggios, right? My memory is so bad that it's difficult. No, definitely not. Definitely not. An arpeggio has 4 notes in it. A scale has 7 notes in it. We don't just play across 1 octave. So if I stay in position, A minor 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different notes to learn. A scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 notes to learn. So it's like it's 70% more work. Scales are 70% more work. And then you have to ask yourself, when I'm playing a scale, some notes are great. Some notes not as great. Can't sit on that too long. Same with this. But when you play an arpeggio, every note is good. And then you start to understand that when you play scales, or when you start to see scales as just being notes that connect arpeggio tones up, you have a really good sense of the notes that sound really strong on a chord, and and the notes that are really colourful on a chord. So if I play... Colour tone, strong tone. Brilliant. Arpeggio, cool, but where are the spicy notes? That's the point. When you have an arpeggio-focused approach to playing over stuff, spoilers, guided guitar arpeggio practice routines. When you have an arpeggio-based approach, try that. When you have an arpeggio-based approach to playing over chords, your spicy notes are easier to implement, clearer to see, and more obvious when you use them. So I kept playing scale, right? I didn't say that, Lucy. That's the scale, Dorian, for this chord. Nothing colourful, right? But I kept playing this note. Spicy note, right? It's a major 7. It's not in the scale, it's not in the arpeggio, but because I'm focused on the sound of the arpeggio, I can offset a tension note with the sound of the chord. Same with a flat 5. If we go. I sort of know the notes. Tried really hard to follow some routines to learn them. Finally use them. Guess you don't know what you don't know, so maybe that's right. Yeah. To come back to Lucy's point, right? Knowing the notes on the fretboard everywhere is essential. Then I'm getting there. No, I didn't say that. It's a lovely long-term goal. It really is. Just like being a fluent sight reader is a lovely long-term goal, right? But I would confidently argue that being able to play a Dorian like this. As A Dorian, I started low and I went all the way up, right? Is not as valuable to you as being able to play A Dorian like this. Because by staying in one position like that, I'm learning to milk musical ideas out of one area, rather than being able to. Someone mentioned it earlier, like having one thing mastered is much better than having a slight grasp of everything. And like I've been playing guitar now for so long, I've been playing music for so long now that to me, A Dorian covers the entire span of the fretboard when I'm improvising, right? But for a learner, for a beginner, it doesn't. It might just be that. And you've got it's so much more valuable to learn to make good music with just that than go, oh, you know the reason I don't sound good? The reason I don't sound good is because I don't have enough options. It's never the case. Never, ever the case. Students that do it all the time, you know, they learn arpeggios and they're like, they learn pentatonic scales and they're like, oh, okay, that, I don't sound good, so maybe I need to learn arpeggios. Oh, I learned arpeggios, I don't sound good, maybe I need to learn triads. Oh, I learned triads and I don't sound good, maybe I need to learn scales. Oh, I've learned scales and I don't sound good, maybe I need to learn outside sounds. Oh, I've learned all this stuff and I don't sound good, maybe I need to get better at sweep picking or tapping. And it's just like, no, adding more things will not make you better. You can be good with just a couple of notes, right? And you don't even need to be colour tones. That's me just playing minor pentatonic. And if I change the chords, right? Lucy, what I said is arpeggios over scales, but then talking the value of A Dorian in different positions. No, not the value of A Dorian in different positions. The value of the arpeggio. So you'll learn and add the color tones the more you practice on the instrument. But I should be able to put on a vamp that's different chords, right? So I go. How did I play that loop so badly? Oh, sorry, someone asked what guitar is this today. This is my Benedetto Pat Martino signature. It's my pride and joy. It's my favourite thing. Can you try with a couple of more half steps, please? I don't know what that means, Johnny. Getting way beyond the point now. Okay, let's finish this up. So what I've written now for you is just some example ideas that go over A7, B7, D7, back to our A7. And I've written a different line, a different idea for each chord, but you can see how it's a blend of arpeggio, of scale, and chromatic approach tones. So over the A, I'm going to play this. That's my lick. Thanks very much, Liv, to play guitar. So we learn that. We could just go, if we wanted to. I've learned a lick for A. Then for my B, I'm going to go. Try and read that. That's a cool line. It's obviously jazz influence because that's my influences. So A. outline my first two chords. If I go. Play it over the backing track. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chris talking about mango chutney. Yeah, Chris has never seen this guitar before. Good to see you, Chris. I hope you're well. As everybody can see, Chris is important. Chris has a little blue name because Chris is a moderator. Anyway, so let's take a look at the final part. So we did the first part, A, B, I've already forgotten it, I need to read these things. Then for our D, I'm going to play, it's a cool D line, right? And I can't stress this enough, when I learn lines like this, it's all just intervals, right? So I learn this, and I think of this as being 3, 5, 7, 9, 1, 7, flat 7, 5, 4, no. 5, yeah, no. What am I thinking there? Oh, I'm thinking, I'm cheating a little bit there in my mind. This is 3, 5, 7, 9 arpeggio. Let's be accurate. 3, 5, 7, 9 arpeggio, coming down chromatically, 1, 7, or 1 flat 7, 1, 7, flat 7. And then, yeah, so 2, 4, 6. But really, this I'm hearing like an arpeggio substitution there, but subject for another day. Just targeting the third of my D. This is really like an A minor lick. That's what I'm hearing there. But anyway, D7. And then we're going back to our A. Yes, kind of live to play guitar. Like, if you were to go through my arpeggio book, you'd learn that when there's an arpeggio like a D7, we have lots of options over that. D7 is, if I play, we could play D7, but there are other arpeggios that are going to work there because D7 is in the key of G. So any one of those arpeggios now, any one of those arpeggios, technically the notes are within the scale, so they technically work, but they all work to varying degrees because obviously the notes that are in the chord, the D7 arpeggio, are the strongest sounding notes. But this is really an F sharp minor 7 arpeggio, F sharp minor 7 flat 5. That's in D7, that's in D7, that's in D7. This isn't in D7. This gives you like a D9 sound. So I'm really just Laura having a scar is on the one hand devastating, on the other hand, if anyone is strong enough to handle it, it'll be her. Anyway, so my D, I play back to my A. So it's me just piecing together some vocabulary for A and D. What I'm going to do actually to make this easier on myself, because I know I won't be able to read this. I won't be able to do this without reading. So I'm just going to do that so I can see them. So if I put that together, it sounds like this. So we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, A. Now if I put the backing track on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so too fast. I was thinking that trying to play along. Yeah, 16th note lines of that is fast. It's definitely too fast. It's not my style of playing. Like, you've listened to me play long enough here tonight that you know that like my style of playing is swing. I swing, and I like lots of syncopated rhythms. I'm not going to play. I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, like it's rhythmically interesting. That's what I'm into. So say with legato lines, players think to land on quartos. It depends on the player. It really depends on the player. If you analyse like Joe Satriani, and especially people that imitate Joe Satriani, they just think like, so you're just rolling around with your legato patterns and you're hoping to land on a good note. But because I have so much focus on the chord tone, that comes first. That's the primary. Oh, thanks very much, Chris. I'm not as good as Melissa, no. That's a fun one, actually. If anybody wants to hear me, Melissa put out a song just recently. If anyone wants to go on Instagram and not Instagram, Spotify, and look up Melissa Kelly, Haunted. She put out an EP called Dedicated, and I played guitar on the track Haunted. There's a little guitar solo in it. Yeah. It is a lot of practice, and that's exactly the point, right? So the focus of all of these Let's Learn Lives is I'm teaching you ideas, and hopefully you're going to take these concepts and practice them using the downloadable PDF, Guitar Pro, and backing track, link in the description. Hopefully you're going to do all of that. But ultimately, you know, my lifestyle of guitar and education is about practice. That's my thing. Practice every day. I put in the time. We put in the time, we get better. And my Patreon is about helping people find the right things to practice, motivating you to do the practice and practicing with you. So if you want to support the channel, well, currently you can go and get a free membership to my Patreon. But maybe you're rich. Maybe you don't need a free membership. Maybe you just pay for a membership like, you know, hundreds of other people do. It's all very much appreciated. If not, go and enjoy some free guided practice routines. Practice is where it's at, man. We just put in the time, get a little bit better every day. And that's really all there is to it. So do that. You can also get guitar profiles for every single one of my books on my Patreon page, which is cool. You can also go to Amazon and check out my book, my latest book, Guided Guitar Arpeggio Practice Routines. Of course, if you look for Levi Clay on Amazon, you're going to find all of my books there. I think there's maybe 14 books, 16. I don't know. I lost count. And we're releasing the compilation for the arpeggio scale and chord book in January. So yeah, do that. Right, any last questions? Or do I get to go inside because it's 11:30? It's been a good day for you, Lucy. Yeah, make sure you get on the Discord server, and I've got a bunch of members on there that share the same ethos as me, really into practice, and we love talking about music and just making sure that all of our practice time is as efficient as it possibly can be, because I spent my time when I was younger practicing all manner of like all those, which getting them to silly speeds, and Paul Gilbert solos and John Petrucci solos, and it was great, but like none of that, it was fun, but none of that benefited my playing as much as the musical stuff did. And now I have to be, much, much more focused on, because we have limited practice time. I need to be much, much more focused so that when I'm jamming with people and we're going, I'll just put it up. My favourite thing to play over at the moment. What a great way to end the stream, playing absolutely terribly. Yeah, you get the idea. So I have to be more musical over stuff like that, and I just that none of that helped me. All the stuff that I put in the time doing, it's just not as useful to me. So I want to help. So Levi Clay, when I was a teenager, I played millions of hours, Tabs, Sepultura, Slayer. Don't regret it, but what I did for my music skills is questionable. Yeah, absolutely. That's when you start appreciating the juice bits that you missed while shredding. Absolutely. Cards still haven't come in the mail. That's really surprising, Chris. That's suspicious, one might even say. Okay, cool. Right, guys, I'm going to bounce. Bring face up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Someone asked, thanks, Levi. Live's going every Wednesday nowadays. Yes, Let's Learn live every Wednesday, 10 p.m. UK time. It's a really good time for me because Melissa is off in Glasgow. She does 2 gigs on a Wednesday night, 2 hours in the Corset Club and then an hour in Riding Room. So she gets home at like 12:15. So I have a really good chunk of free time where I'm just not doing anything. So it's a great opportunity for me to stream and do this stuff with you. Martin has enjoyed the stream. Awesome. I'm glad. Hopefully I'll see you next week, my friend. Go and grab one of those free Patreon memberships while you still can. I don't know how much longer they'll last. In fact, let me tell you. There's still 39 left to claim. Once they're gone, all 500 are gone. And a big round of applause for the Benedetto Pat Martino. I cannot tell you how much I love this guitar. Big thanks to Chris for bringing it over for me. Anyway, guys, I've been Levi Clay. You've been awesome, and I will see you again very soon.